Remember when I told you guys that there was absolutely nothing that the city or the county could do about the old movie theater in Lenore that we all want to see turned into something cool? Well, that's true currently. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about some options that we have that we would all have to get on board with in order to make them happen. There's been whisperings of some of these ideas being implemented for years, but if there's one thing I've learned being involved with our local leaders since about 2015-16, give or take, it's that they will not take a risk. If we could all collectively sort of agree on a path that we wanted to take and make our voices heard, then they would feel so much more comfortable taking these routes. Option number one, VPROs with fees. Vacant, I struggle so hard saying this word, vacant property registration ordinances. How this works is that owners of vacant properties, I'm not even gonna bother correcting myself. We're all in on it, okay? I can't say vacant. Anyways, owners with vacant properties that they refuse to do anything with have to register that with the city. This registration would come with a fee. The longer the time goes on and nothing is done with this property, the higher the fee goes. Obviously, the goal of this ordinance would be to get people to do something with their buildings. Some things that contribute to our economy. Renting it, leasing it, selling it to someone else who will. In Washington, D.C., they impose a significantly higher property tax rate to vacant buildings. Reports indicate that it's working. It's generated substantial revenue, and it's motivated the owners to either develop their property or sell it to somebody who has the will. In Baltimore, Maryland, they have a vacant to value initiative, which includes registration, citations, etc. And they have seen a reduction in the amount of vacant properties. Not only that, but it's also led to surrounding properties renovating, because when someone buys it and renovates it, then their building kind of looks crappy, so then they renovate it so that everybody looks nice. This option is pretty dang solid in terms of making sure that it helps our economy. Everything else we're going to talk about helps in certain ways, but this is by far and large the most productive through my researches. Option number two, an anti-blight ordinance. This would work by essentially local government being like, we don't care what the heck you're doing with it, just make sure it's not an eyesore. Make sure there's no graffiti, make sure it looks nice. Paint's not peeling, the roof's not falling off. It just has to look good. Now, this is going to incentivize an owner because doing all that's going to cost some money. So they're probably either going to sell it or they're going to put somebody in there that's going to take care of it. So although there's not strict enforcement of making sure that there's something going on inside the building, it sort of lends itself to that in the end anyway. Some examples of success include Philadelphia and Georgia, but specifically I want to talk about Macon, Bibb County. In Philadelphia, though, they're more so measuring their success on compliance. So it has increased compliance because it's easier to do, and it has offered some stabilization in the area. In Macon, Bibb County in Georgia, they are actively targeting these rundown looking buildings, ensuring the owners are within compliance, and it just looks better. And what that does is make people want to be in downtown, right? Even if there's something not necessarily going on in that building, at least it's not, you know. The third option is aggressive code enforcement. We already have code safety protocols, right? For fire, safety, blah, blah, blah. If those codes were enforced, there's no way that these buildings would pass inspection. So that is the probably easiest way. We're going to get into all the pros and cons of everything in just a second. But one of the easiest things is just to run with what we already have set up. That would force these property owners' hand into doing something with these really rundown buildings. However, it doesn't force their hand into making sure that something is done with the building. There's a whole lot of cities implementing this strategy, and it is successful at making sure that no buildings fall into further disrepair. Option number four, this is obviously a last resort, but just tear it down. Local government can make someone do something with that, or they can tear it down themselves and put a lien on the property so that they have to get paid back. There can be much success in this tactic seen in Detroit, Michigan, where they implemented this in residential areas. They just started condemning stuff left and right and bulldozing it down. This left room for developers to come in, and then once developers built new houses, then the property owners with the current houses kind of were forced into fixing up their stuff to maintain property values, and it was a chain effect of really good stuff. There's some very important things to consider when making this decision. Number one are the obvious legal challenges. We do not have any ordinances or mandates set up like this yet, which means that's a whole legal process that has to be done. And again, we're working with leaders that are terrified of risk. We have to let them know that we will be behind them 100% because they're going to suffer major pushback from the property owners. But if we're all collectively saying, hey, do something, do something, do something, and then we're not giving them the support to follow through with that, then what are we really doing, you know? Whining? Because the pushback wouldn't come from us, right? it would come from these property owners. It could be argued that, hey, if I buy my land, I could do whatever I want with it. But it could also be argued, okay, well, you doing whatever you want is totally royally screwing our community. So no, you don't get to do what you want with it. It's that argument and that battle. So depending on which side of the fence you sit on, so legal challenges, kind of a big deal. Another kind of a big deal is enforcement capacity. We don't really have that many code people hanging around. And if I'm not mistaken, all of our code enforcement is actually contracted out through Western Piedmont Council of Governments. I would imagine we would have to bring some of that in-house to be able to have the capacity to cover it, because not only do you need your code guys, you also have to have people to follow that legal process all the way through. Obviously, we would want to target compliance, not having to go through court processes. But I think for at least in the beginning, the process would have to be all the way carried out. Otherwise, people are not going to take it seriously. We could also go the route of combining these mandates with incentives, sort of a carrot and a stick. And Lenore is actually pretty good about this stuff. There's a facade grant that you can get to where if you renovate the property to look how it looked in its original form, I think it's about $100,000. I wouldn't quote me on that exact number, but I know that there's money available to be able to renovate the property back to its historical origination. There's potentially other incentive-only methods to get people to do something with their property, but there's plenty of incentive out there. Local government is actually super helpful in terms of getting into a property and how you can fix it and all the grants and money and assistance available to someone who wants to develop property. So I think we have the incentives covered. So of all that you've heard today, what is your favorite option? What would you like to see implemented? Please leave me a comment and let me know. I don't know at what point our leaders are going to be like, enough is enough, and actually make moves, but I can tell you it's not been within the last decade. But if we all come together and know our options, because knowledge is power, then we can be like, hey, you're up there to represent us. This is what we want. Do it. Period. The end. That's all I have for this topic. My name is Candace Lee Simmons, and thank you for being here and helping me build a better backyard. I think we can do it. If we all agree that we want this to be the best place to live, it can happen. I know that a lot of us talk crap about this place, but we can just stop and make it better. Isn't that so fun? I have these dreams of living in like Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls, and literally the only thing stopping us is the people stopping us, or not collectively agreeing on what kind of place we want to live in. And that's also worth the discussion. Do we want to invite all the transplants in? Do we want to say, hey, we love you guys that are here, but like, let's take care of the people that we have now and move forward? Or do we want to keep trying to bring in people from the outside world? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is gonna be another video, the reason why all these factories and stuff are coming in is to draw in a new workforce, to draw in new people, because y'all ain't doing shit. I'm sorry to serve it to you so harsh, but that is what it is. But we're gonna fix that, right? Now that we know, because knowledge is power and we didn't know. There's no excuse, and baby, we're on a crusade, okay? I can feel it in the air. I'm running for county commissioner in 2026. I'll be having a pre-campaign party in June, and I hope you'll all get out there and vote for me. I think I've already proved that I can talk circles around what we have now. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll see you in the next one. And if you have anything you want me to talk about, do let me know. The next video, if I can ever get them to respond to me, is looking into how much money we're sitting on, like a little duck on a golden egg. I know what the budget is, I can see that, but how much of our tax dollars are they just sitting there hoarding? Because that matters, and I'll tell you why. But until then, I'll catch you later.